Hi, I'm Andrew Tsao. In this episode of Backstory, we're talking with some dynamic young people involved in the Seattle filmmaking scene. The National Film Festival for Talented Youth showcases films by artists aged 22 and younger from all over the world. Here with us today are Lindsay Johnson, Managing Director, and Champ Ensminger, a University of Washington senior whose film won the Audience Award in the experimental category at NFFTY in 2011. Welcome, Lindsay and Champ. Thank you so much for being here. Some of our audience might not know the background and origins of the Film Festival for Youth. Lindsay, maybe you could just take us through how it began. I understand it is based here in Seattle, but it is essentially an international global organization. So could you tell us a little bit about its background?
Sure. So we just had our 5th festival. It was started by Jesse Harris, who's the executive director. He was a Ballard High School film student. He made his first feature film and then realized that there was nothing like this, and so he and 3 of his friends started the festival and had the first one 5 years ago. And since then it's almost doubled every single year to an attendance of 7,500 this last year.
7,500 people gathering to see films by young filmmakers.
Right, right.
And it began with 3, I'm going to say, high school students.
Exactly.
Who were looking to start their careers. So I guess I have to ask first, why 22 as the cutoff age? How did that come about?
Well, it came about because there are some film festivals that are for high school students, some for college, and we thought 22 is the age where you'd finish your undergraduate degree. So that way we allow to have high school students as well as undergraduate films and have them all together. So you treat filmmakers from 2 to 22 as professionals all in the same organization.
So organizations like this, programs like this, really speak to, a phenomenon that's happened in our times, which is what I loosely call the democratization of equipment. Meaning, when I was your age, I would have to get a rather large and unwieldy, massive 16 camera, some very expensive film, gigantic lights, and a huge crew. But now, as we know, young people can grab a very high quality digital camera and go out there and shoot. So these organizations start to come along to promote that sort of thing. But what do you both think about how that impacts the way film is seen by young people? I guess what I'm getting at is, in my generation, it was a very rare thing, to say to a group of your friends, I'm going out to make a film. Everyone would look at you like, that can't be done. But it's becoming more commonplace as an expression for young people. I mean, can you talk a little bit about how you got into it, Champ, and what age you did, and what made you think, gee, I can do this. This is something I can get into and make something professional.
I think the way that NFFTY, kind of the creation story of NFFTY, is very reflexive of people my age, and that a lot of us my age have years of experience with a camera already instead of having to go to school for it. We've been shooting, family vacations since we were 8 years old, like I have, and I think it was just a gradual kind of maturity level of technique and things like that, and equipment especially from 8 years old up to now, and just dealing with all of the technology trends that have been coming along, and then just getting into that and being really interested in it and finding the community, especially through the internet and through school on campus, to just really see how much momentum people our age really have.
It's out there. I mean, it's out there on the internet, and you, as you pointed out in its beginnings, you were talking about high school students who had the access to the equipment and some teaching that went along with it, so they were able to sort of develop their skills.
Right.
Is that where you began, as far back as that?
That's right, yeah.
And the ironic thing is are you, Champ, now literally aging out of this festival at the age of 22?
Yeah, I'm just barely kind of reaching the age limit. Yeah, it was so much fun. It was so much fun, and that's all the more reason to tell people on campus who are underclassmen to really go for it, because it's really picking up steam.
Great, great. And so you see, give me a number, you see how many films when it comes to putting this festival together every year?
Well, it's getting more and more. Last year, or in 2010, we had 450 submissions from all over the world. For the 2011 festival, we had 700 submissions.
So
and we
it's-
only picked 225.
Yeah.
So they're amazing films.
And it's growing and growing every year.
Right,
and
right.
and you know, you spend all this time looking at them. What surprises you? I mean, obviously, you are very impressed by the quality across the board. The films are coming from all over the world. What's that adventure like for you as you go through this selection process?
Well, it's really fun, and I think despite all the tools people have, what really rises to the top is story, and still just a good story will really carry the film, and that's what makes the best film out of all these. But the interesting thing is themes. You'll find the same themes in American films as films we had from Turkey, as films we had from Asia, and that kids have a story to tell, and youth, and they're not all kid-friendly stories, which I think is important to know about our festival, is that these are youth, but they're not, they're stories that they're telling from their heart and from their soul.
Right.
They're not all, for kids.
Well, it's about their time
Yeah,
and their
exactly.
place in the world. And I mentioned in the intro that Champ, you won an award in the experimental category. Can you talk a little bit about the different categories of films you have?
Yeah, we have experimental, we have an action sports category, which
Okay.
has gotten really popular.
Let me guess. Let me guess that there might be some skateboarding in there.
There's a lot of skateboarding, wakeboarding,
Yeah.
snowboarding, any kind of boarding you could think of. And then we have more of the drama, we have the narrative, we have documentary,
Okay.
earth films, social conscious films.
Right. Right.
Really-
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's take a look at a trailer for this year's festival, which will give us an idea of the range of films you might be able to see at the festival.
Nothing will ever be as it ever was before. Nothing will ever be as it ever was before. Nothing will ever be as it ever was before. Nothing will ever be as it ever was
So, Lindsay, this year's festival is based on the theme United by Film. Can you tell us a little bit about how the theme came about and what that means?
Sure. So, and the entire theme is United by Film, Future by NFFTY. So, with the idea that everyone is united by film, we have international submissions. We represent in 20 different countries, 40 states, and you see the same stories coming through. You see that everyone wants to tell their story by film, but also that we are seeing the future of film at NFFTY. We are seeing the best and the best of upcoming directors that you're going to be seeing in Hollywood in 5 years or whatever Hollywood is in
Yeah.
5 years. But
Yeah.
that's basically the concept: is everyone's together, and this is where the future is. You'll see
Okay.
it in Seattle at NFFTY.
Okay. So, Champ, what was it like? Is this your first big film festival, your first award? The paparazzi were following you. There you were. Tell us a little about your experience with the festival this year.
I was really impressed by the festival. It was a lot more than I had expected because NFFTY had a certain caliber of films that were there that I was so surprised as far as people our age from different parts of the world coming out with something that is, I don't know, just Hollywood scale. I mean, and they really do a good job in making it a spectacle, kind of this gala event. They have the red carpet, and they have interviews, and they have...
And this was at the Cinerama Theater in Seattle, which, of course, is one of the storied cinemas in Seattle because it is one of the original 70 millimeter Cinerama scope
Right.
theaters, and so you take this over, but it's not just at the Cinerama. You actually move from there to where for the gala party?
They transported all these people by shuttle bus to the Seattle, to the Space Needle. Yeah.
So Seattle icons are a part of this festival too.
Absolutely.
That's great. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to take a look at Champ's short film, Tonal. Champ, your film Tonal won the Audience Award in the experimental category at NFFTY this year. Tell us a little bit about the idea behind the film, your approach to it, what we can expect.
The premise behind Tonal comes from an idea that had spawned in high school that kind of grew into this big feature idea that I had had in mind. I'm a big fan of science fiction and of dystopian fiction, and a lot of my favorite movies, including Blade Runner and things like that, really influenced this idea of interpreting music or sound as an addictive substance. And the story that I had in mind would expanded it into something that was kind of a conspiracy theory type thing. But I kind of set that by the side, graduating from high school and thinking maybe if I get into film, that would be an idea that I would kind of play with. And coming into the DXARTS video series this year, I was able to use a project, the final project from fall quarter, to work with an idea that would kind of pitch that. So to play with certain kinds of techniques, there's a certain kind of technique in the program After Effects that I was trying to play with that, that kind of interpreted that kind of drug-induced experience.
Okay. So DXARTS being the Department of Digital and Experimental Arts here at the University of Washington. So something that you had germinating since high school was material that ultimately ended up as a class project because of some of the classes, the work you were doing in that class.
That's right.
Great. Okay. Let's take a look at the film Tonal.
This is a total media government hoax. We've got all these newscasts with cops saying we've got to do something about this.
Public schools sent out a letter warning parents about the new trend after several high school students reported having physiological effects.
A lot of people are talking. Some say this is just hype. Others say it's a way for teens to dabble in their curiosity. However, some are not sold on it.
It's got to be rubbish, surely. Scaremongering, isn't it? It's just like in the 70s when parents heard Kiss and they just assumed it was, you know, the gateway to hell.
And what is the government saying? They want to give everyone forced vaccines. They have over 100 of these that are now being tested and approved to, quote, stop anxiety, stop emotion, stop stress. They want to put lithium in the water so you don't have anxiety. Anxiety is part of life.
You know what I don't understand? Yo-Yo Ma.
I don't even know. Was Yo-Yo Ma like a violin player?
Isn't he?
I don't know. I don't really listen to classical that much.
You don't?
No. I don't get the same feeling from classical as honestly.
I've heard if you let your baby listen to classical music, he'll be smart.
Yeah, but I've also heard if you let plants listen to metal, they grow back.
I've heard that too.
Have you ever heard anything on vinyl before?
I've heard of vinyl.
Yeah. Apparently everyone who's into it says it sounds way better. It's just like way more clear.
What is it?
It's like a CD, but actually I don't know. Like, it's bigger. It's not digital, I guess. And I don't know. Everyone I've ever talked to about it says it's like F above. I don't know. You didn't even listen to any of that?
Yeah.
Are you alright?
Yeah, let's just...
Sure?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So, I got this right here, which is probably gonna run you like $40. But
How much? Sorry.
40.
Alright.
Careful with that though.
Yeah.
Lindsay, in the category of experimental films, how many in the festival?
I believe we had 5 to 10.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it, and then give us a comparison from that to something like the drama category.
I believe we had about 15 to 20 of
Okay.
those. We had a lot more submissions of the drama than experimental.
Okay, so that kind of leads me to ask you, since you mentioned that the material for it came from an idea you had and then you were applying it through a DXARTS class, was there any point where you decided, I will definitely work on this subject in a non-narrative manner, or was it always conceived like that from the original thought you had in high school?
Being in the DXARTS class, they definitely challenge you to look at an idea that you might have in a
Okay.
different perspective. So it definitely was to concentrate on the experience and
Yes.
kind of a visceral idea that we're going with as opposed to a narrative.
Okay, and so obviously for you, music plays a big part of the film and also in your own life, I understand. Can you talk a little bit how that works together with your filmmaking ideas?
Sure. I have been pretty in touch with music for a long time. I started playing violin in 5th grade, and a lot of people who go into music have a connection with it from a very early age,
Yeah.
whether or not they start playing or they start listening.
Yeah.
And after high school, I decided to, while being here at the UW, I have been DJing at a radio station, Rainy Dog, and that has been a way to get connected with other people who are mostly very obsessive with music. You find some musicians and you go to shows and things like that, and get really connected with the Seattle music scene. And that has played a part in a lot of the kind of film ideas that I've had over the past few years. But knowing that music is very subjective as far as tastes, I decided to turn the direction of Tonal towards sound.
Okay.
As opposed to music, because I can always say I'm obsessed with this, but as far as an audience, it might be interesting to see what happens when we kind of broaden the scope.
Well, speaking of your organizational skills, as you mentioned with the music scene, you're also president of the UW Film Club and have done a lot of work on campus organizing students who are interested in film and want to make film. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with that?
I had gone to a few film club meetings freshman year, and out of nowhere during that summer after freshman year, the president had decided to throw it on to me and a friend of mine to just take it over because all the seniors had graduated. So that was kind of a surprise, but it was also a good opportunity to see where we could take a club. And my motivation to be in the club in the first place was to get connected with people that usually wouldn't meet each other. That's the whole point of the student organizations, is to have people kind of come out of the woodwork and meet each other.
Which is why it's important in the long term for the University of Washington to coordinate its cinema efforts, yeah?
That's right.
That's my little plug for students like you and teachers like me that are interested in this. It seems to make sense, right? And it's great to have student leaders like you push that stuff forward. We'll take another short break right now, and when we come back, we'll take a look at another one of Champ's films. Champ, we're going to look at another film of yours called The Painting. Talk to us a little bit about the idea behind this film, what's different about it from Tonal, and some of the concepts that were involved in making it.
Well, between Tonal and The Painting, they were two separate projects for the DXARTS class. And for this project, the concept was called a chain reaction, in that you get into a group with other people in the class, and you take one idea and you expand it, and kind of they interact with each other. So The Painting is actually an extension of a story between 5 other films that kind of elaborate on each other as you watch them.
Wait, so each person is making a film, but taking a central idea and passing it along to the next person, and therefore picking it up from where it came. So do you see the previous films, or are you all doing this simultaneously?
We're all doing this simultaneously, and they don't necessarily follow chronologically one after the other. You have to watch them. You kind of get an idea of this same story between all 4 or 5 of them.
And what's the time frame in this? I mean, you all go out over a weekend and make this, or do they give you parameters of what you have to function? Like you can't know anything about the other persons, or what?
We usually have a project cycle of about 2 weeks or so to come up with the concept and then shoot. That usually just goes down to like the very last weekend, usually, depending on what the idea is. We did have some conversations over lunch about what the story should be, but then from there, basically everybody had their own crews. We were trying to kind of maneuver with each other as far as what the plot was supposed to be like, and just kind of did our own thing.
Great. Let's take a look at The Painting.
Yeah, no, I mean, everything's coming together. I just need to, put a top coat on a bunch of stuff. It shouldn't be too much of a big deal. But, yeah. No, for sure. No, I mean, like, the transportation, it should be fine. I mean, the stretchers are pretty big, but if we just roll everything up, it should be fine. I'll just put it in the back of the van. Oh, wait, hold on. Rob, I got somebody visiting 1 second. Just hold on a second. Hey, buddy, how you doing? I'm on the phone. Hey, Rob, I'm back. Yeah, no, just an old friend walked in. Yeah, I mean, transportation is really the only thing we have to worry about. But the stretchers aren't too big, and I'm sure if we roll it up, put it in the back of the U-Haul, $80 down the pocket, it's fine. Sure, yeah. I'll tell him he said hello. All right, see you, man. Talk to you soon. What's going on, man? Nothing, dude. I just got some coffee. Want to head to the roof? Yeah, let's do it. That's all right.
Hey, man, guess who I saw the other day? Oh, remember James? We used to play basketball with him?
Oh, my God. That guy who never made it up from JV?
Yeah, man.
Holy shit.
He's up in Seattle now.
What's he doing?
He's got a job somewhere. I don't know.
Fuck. Remember He used to hang out with this kid Aaron. Remember, we went to elementary school with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, the little twerp with like the shortcut blonde hair.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Man, we were assholes to him.
Yeah. But, you know what? We were like 10 years old.
Yeah, we were kids.
Water under the bridge.
So, do you remember Anna?
Anna?
Yeah, you had a big crush on her?
You mean Katie? The girl that you like stomped on her face when we were trying to play dodgeball?
Dude, you told me to do that.
Bullshit. You ran on your own accord. I was there laughing, but you stomped her face.
All right. But Anna, man. You remember Anna?
Nah, man, doesn't ring a bell.
Anna, the one we locked in the shed?
No, I don't remember.
Dude, you have to remember Anna.
I don't remember every kid I went to middle school with, Jake.
So how's the painting going?
Ah, man, it is what it is. You know, I got this show coming up in like 2 months. I'm working on this like series of work, and they want me to split it up into singular pieces, and you know, I just don't want to do that shit. You know.
I'm sorry, man. That's a bummer. Wait, what's that painting downstairs?
One in like the reds and the blues, like it's sort of like a backyard kind of thing.
Yeah. The doorway.
I don't know. You know, I just wanted to work from something that I could see. You know, I'm working on non-objective stuff for like 5 years. I figured I might as well ground a painting in the real world. You know.
Come on, Aiden. That's the doorway.
What?
It's the doorway to the shed.
What shed?
Anna's shed.
I don't remember that.
We totally forgot about her for an entire day.
I don't remember that.
I mean, come on, Aiden. We let her out the next day. We played hide and seek.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Anna got hit by a car trying to find us.
Jake, stop.
Come on, Aiden. You have to remember this.
I don't.
Then what's that painting about?
I don't know what the painting's about, all right? It just... Fuck.
Listen, man, I know we never really talked about this, and I can totally understand why you would want, like, something like that to be in the back of your mind, you know? But, I mean, you have to be thinking about it somehow. It's in your painting.
It is the shed, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's something I can't really forget, you know?
Yeah, I mean... I remember when I started that painting, I didn't even know where it was coming from, you know? Just laid it all out there, and now that I know, I don't know if I want to go there. I don't know if I can go there, you know?
Well, man, if you go there, I go there.
I don't know, you know, I guess it's just like in my head I've always thought of Anna like she stayed in the shed, you know? Always thought of her like she never got out.
So we've seen a couple of your films now. We're getting a sense of a part of your aesthetic because, as you said, these are part of class projects, specifically with experimental arts. Tell us a little bit about what interests you most going forward in terms of filmmaking.
The advantage I think that has been in making films, not just in DXARTS, but also being on UW campus, is that they have the potential to be very personal.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not focusing on one person's idea and trying to interpret it your own way. You're projecting yourself,
Mm-hmm.
essentially. And it's definitely been a good exercise to be able to see where my voice comes in.
Mm-hmm.
And if I plan on pursuing this as a career, I think
Mm-hmm.
there should be some little thread. And especially studying studying up on different directors in the cinema studies department.
Yeah.
Historically, a lot of directors have focused on more personal work at first and then
Yeah.
kind of expanded. But you always get a sense of an aesthetic
Sure.
within all their different films.
I'm just curious in your cinema studies, which filmmaker or filmmakers have had the most profound impact on you up till now?
Well, I guess the traditional different kind of canon of filmmakers, I suppose, it's a lot of my friends kind of argue between Jean-Luc Godard and Francois Truffaut, and I am Camp Truffaut.
You're Camp Truffaut.
Yeah. And I would say that's a healthy argument between the two because they're very outspoken people as far as the French New Wave.
Yeah.
And they're inspiring in that the French New Wave is kind of the concept, or the idea behind it is very similar to now in that it was just people studying up on film and very frustrated with how the industry is and trying to make their own thing.
Well, that's the thing. They came up together, both writing for Cahiers du Cinéma, and so they had a similar viewpoint. It's just that their aesthetic branches ultimately went their different ways. In the beginning, much more similar. I mean, you have Breathless and you have 400 Blows and both narratives, and it's a little later that you start to see the break. So is that something we can look forward to with you, Champ? Are you already decided on your pathway towards more study as a director and writer, or will we just see you out there making films? What's next for you?
From what I've experienced, especially meeting a lot of graduates or now graduates at NFFTY, a lot of people who have graduated I've met from NYU, from UCLA, their career paths are very fluid in that we're going to take projects as they come along. It's not necessarily about going to grad school for film anymore. It's getting familiar with the locales that you're in, and for me, I think it might take a little bit of change in geography. Of course, Seattle, I've discovered in the past few years, has a thriving film community.
Yeah.
And I think having that in mind as I look around for other places to work, I think I will always have that as a home base.
Well, I like that idea, and that gets me to a question for you, Lindsay, which is, NFFTY being based here and also being global speaks to the energy of what happens with Seattle film. I mean, we have here Washington Filmworks. We have a very vibrant film festival, a wonderful young community of filmmakers, and NFFTY's a big part of that as well. Can you just reflect on that, the Seattle film community, a little bit, and in that way sort of describe to us what you see as the future for NFFTY and where it might go from here?
Mm-hmm. Well, we think Seattle is a great home for NFFTY because the city's been so supportive. The City Office of Film and Music has been hugely supportive, as well as the film schools and filmmakers have come. We had an industry day where we had a local community come and talk to all the filmmakers who were at NFFTY, and people came out of the woodwork to help. And so we just think it's a great community, and just want to keep seeing NFFTY growing and getting the best of the best talent to come here, and hopefully decide they like Seattle as well as a locale, and you know, make it the biggest and best film community you can.
Well, I think some of our viewers, because of the subject matter of this episode, are going to be probably younger than you. So each of you, tell me what kind of advice you'd give the kids who are seeing this, who are in high school, who are going, oh, that's the guy who won the award. I want to go out there and do this. Oh, I'm interested in NFFTY. Where do they? What can they do for themselves to move along?
I think film has the capacity to be a very personal and very individualistic endeavor, as far as built up egos, like I am the next director. But I think the big thing is community building. You hang out down to just hang out with your friends, grabbing people, whether they you know, have some free time or not, to just help you crew, help you come up with some ideas. And because it doesn't take just one person, even though we all have our own little video cameras and we could potentially just make our own things. I think a lot of learning comes from having a group of people work on the same thing.
You know, it just made me think, Champ, your understanding of film history impresses me, and you mentioned the French New Wave. And I've always thought about it this way, is that when you look back in film history and you look at the movements or the aesthetics or the sort of landmark eras that occurred, there was sort of a combination of things that happened. The young talent who knew each other, the infrastructure from the time and place people were living, and it all kind of came together and created a great deal of energy. I mean, if you think about the Italian neorealists after World War II, you think about the French New Wave. You even think about New German cinema in the 70s with Herzog and Schlondorf and Fassbinder. You know, these are all guys your age who, as you say, helped each other, got to know each other, but they had a place to go. They had their local infrastructure interested in young people coming along. And it sounds like what you're both saying is Seattle feels like it's coming of age in that way, where both the infrastructure and the young talent are hooking up in a way that this can really create some momentum. And it's really gratifying to hear how you're committed to the local area. I mean, the idea that NFFTY is here and is based here, and the idea that you have a personal future that's going to take you to destinations unknown, but that you value where you came from and how that's a part of your personal aesthetic. I think that's a really strong statement, and I hope some of our viewers take that to heart a little bit. Thank you both for being here today. It was really, really great. I'm really excited, and hopefully one day I'll be able to come and see some of the films at NFFTY. As I said, my invitation to the red carpet somehow didn't make it this year, but we'll talk about that later.
Next year.
Okay, thanks, Lindsay. Thank you for watching. I'm Andrew Tsao, and I will see you again behind the scenes.